Good afternoon, traders, and welcome back to Start Swing Trading. And we got a lot to talk about today. It seems like one of those days that we're just kind of on the brink. We don't know where the market's really going to turn. I think this is the important part right now of taking a look. I myself am, and you guys probably won't believe it, but in no positions as we speak. This whole last 3 weeks that we've been doing this show, I've really been trying to take a step up and taking more and more trades. But right now, I feel like this moment of uncertainty is at its highest. Right now, I'm on the sidelines. Let's talk all about that right here on Start Swing Trading. Let's get into the action. Like always, you guys smash the like. See you guys wandering on in right now. Hope you guys enjoy catching Start Swing Trading every single day, 3 p.m. Eastern. This is the place you want to be. All right, let's get to the action. Let's take a look at the market. Right now, I had Apple on the chart, but let's get to the SPY here. You guys can see we're battling around the 392.74s. Been trying to hold the VWAP since about 12:30 when we pulled back below it. We got back above it and just held it on the pullback recently around the 245. So if this can continue the trend, not really looking that bad in the overall market today. I know it sounds weird, right? Not looking that bad. Well, that's the truth. Right now, it seems like there's a lot of uncertainty out there with the bank situation. But overall, the SPY, and I've been talking about this all day long, this does not look bearish to me by any means, right? At least from what the action is showing me on the technical side. Of course, I could be wrong. It could be just technicals. But at least from that outlook, one thing I can clearly see is stocks did what? From right now, it looks like we got this nice breakout, right? We pushed up there. Now we pulled back into the channel, slightly pulled back a day or two into that channel, and now are looking to push back. Now, can we get that real motion to really get us going again? I think this is the important outlook to keep in mind, right? As long as we don't break this kind of 380s down spot where this kind of bunched up pattern right here is, I think we're still in bullish tune. And I think that with that being said, remember how I point to RSI a lot of the times on extreme moments. With this banking situation, yes, we did come down here to what? We came back down here to oversold. But if you actually look at the price action, we are bouncing off that line and could make another run to the upside. Does that mean it's going to happen? No, there's no guarantees in the market. Anywhere you go, if someone tells you there's a guarantee, the only guarantee, and I saw this said today for crypto, but is risk. And that's the truth. When we're talking about the market, we're always dealing with risk. So in this mentality, of course, you guys take it with a grain of salt. We'll see what happens in the SPY if we can come back to 400. Or the big question, right? What happens here with the FOMC? That's really the focus that we need to kind of focus on because it keeps changing up. I mean, I look at my CME Fed Watch tool, right? And I see what? I see now it's saying 73.1% chance for a 25 basis point hike rate and 27% chance of no interest rate hike rate. But I look back and 1 month ago, we were at 18.1%, 50 basis points. This is going to be the important outlook. This is why I think the market is actually holding on here because tech stocks have been already what? Beaten down. And they've been beaten down by the fast pace of interest rates rising, right? Are we going to see a turnaround type of trade with the Fed's new initiative, not focused on inflation, but focused on getting stability back into the financial markets? And this could at least cause them to pause, if not in the long run, cause them to do an emergency cut, right? I think this is where we need to kind of focus on to see what happens in this situation. Is the Fed and the situations that are going around in different global banks, are they meeting that uncertainty with the backstop that will go ahead and turn this trade around? And if by any means we could get to the FOMC meeting, they don't raise rates, and then we find out that this banking situation isn't that grave, will this cause a rally in the market? So I know a lot of people are thinking about extreme downside in the market right now. I'm actually having a little bit of a bullish tune to me today. And a lot of that is the perspectives that what, at least in my trading career, one thing that I have seen consistently is that in moments of panic, a lot of times we do what? We put that big band-aid on the market, right? We put that band-aid on the bank. We come in here and get those uninsured deposits insured, right? It seems to me like the band-aids, they don't stop. And with that being mentioned, I'm not going to think the end of the world because our government will come in here and step in and save it. Until the end of the world comes, and trust me, if the end of the world comes, no one's going to care about the financial markets. Let's just be honest. But if we aren't going to the end of the world and the Fed is always going to step in here and backstop everything, if we need to, right, we could step in fiscal policy wise, right? Not only monetary policy wise. And you've heard the president, he's not going to allow these banks to fail, especially under his rate. You guys heard Yellen. It's not going to happen, team. So in my eyes, I'm looking for the turnaround. I'm looking for the bullish play. Sounds interesting, but who knows? We might be closer to the end now, especially after this banking situation. I didn't think that the banking situation was going to get us near the end, but it actually seems like it's getting us closer to the end and closer to potentially that recession hitting immediately versus us thinking that it's down the line, right? A lot of people were pushing it down the line. Is it coming now as we're also seeing that inversion in the treasury yields further out, right? That's something to keep in mind. I think the bonds are telling us something when we take a look at TLT. One thing to keep in mind is we did get up there today in the pre-market and now have pulled back. So I'm going to continue to watch the TLT to see if we come back for these levels on the hourlies. Will we come back through this kind of 109, pushing through 107? Something to keep on watch. I'm actually going to set an alert to be looking for that. And of course, we're talking about the bonds here with the TLT. All right, catching up with the chat. What's going on out there, team? How we doing out there? We got Hammer. What's up? Money, money, money. The calm before the storm. Interesting there. Julie, how we doing? DWAC stock about to go to the moon? I don't know about DWAC, but maybe Trump is. Who knows? I heard he might get arrested this week. I know a lot of people are paying attention to it. I know I'm not one of those people, but I definitely will mention it. All right, we'll see what else is going on. Still short banks a bit with FAZ. 25 basis point, Daniel. Has the market factored in the 25 basis point? Another good question, right? Jay Rice, Powell, Q and answer on Wednesday, probably more important than the announcement on Tuesday. Yes. 100% agree. And Wednesday, the conference, that's when the fireworks start. When the Q&A, when they come after Powell with a little bit of questioning, that's usually when we see the fireworks. Panics traders make me bullish too. It seems like it, right? Seems to me like a lot of the people that have that panic mentality are more the traders that actually traded that last financial crisis. A lot of this could be more confirmation bias being drawn from that previous event and thinking that that previous event is also this event. I think a lot of the times we do this as humans. It's a normal thing to think about, right? When one situation's happening, put it to like a past situation. What has happened in the past and how did I react in that time so that I can have the best advantage? The truth is not one, two kind of situations are really alike. Every market situation is going to be different, right? In the financial crisis time, we didn't have this inflation worry, right? I mean, these are the kind of things that we need to really understand to understand that this is a completely separate situation than the financial crisis. And if anything, I don't know if it's necessarily a financial crisis just yet, but hey, to each his own, because I didn't necessarily trade that financial crisis. So I'm going to go ahead and say, maybe they have more experience than I, and that's why they're freaking out. But a little part of me is starting to think that maybe this is overdone here, and we could quickly shore up the certainty. All of a sudden, boom, we start seeing that turnaround, especially if interest rates pause and the Fed mentions anything that could be truly taken as dovish. We'll see what happens there. Definitely don't expect to see a hawkish Jay Powell this time. If anything, I think he's going to definitely calm the markets down a little bit. We'll have to wait and find out. And of course, you guys will catch that right here on Benzinga. All right, catching up, the Crow. What's going on out there? Easy Mike, beans for rice. Oh, beans and rice for me. It's the end of the world as we know it. Yeah, if you only truly believe that, right? We'll see what happens there. It's going to be a fun one to take a look into. All right, let's get back to the markets, team. I do want to talk about the trades that I closed today, and we got ourselves a winner chicken dinner type of trade. So definitely out there, team, smash the like button if you guys enjoy getting some nice setups here. Like always, I can't make trading decisions for you guys. You guys make your own investment advice, but I got some winners from just last week. Let's talk a little bit about this, especially towards the close yesterday. Let's talk a little bit about what I was able to close here at the open. First one we're going to talk about is First Solar. So First Solar was one that we were actually short going into the witching hour, and that was on Friday, right? Well, Friday, we got a little bit of a spike down towards 198.45, and we were able to take some first profits. So when the market opened, and I'm pretty sure I'm probably a very selected few that was able to make some money on First Solar short today, but on this first downturn in the market, and I got to go maybe to the 1 minute to kind of show you guys this. I'm going to zoom back so you guys can see this downturn right out the gates here. Right out the gates, we did do a little bit of an attempt here towards the kind of like the 201s. That would have actually stopped me out. But after that, we went down and we cut through the 200. We faded off the VWAP and then cut through towards this 199. And I was able to take some profits here on this one towards 197.83. So as we cut through the 198, was able to take some profits on this one and then leave the rest break even. Very important to leave that rest break even, because as the stock came back, look how this stock ripped through that level and continued going higher. This is why I love to be break even, especially after I've been able to take some profits. Why? Because when I stop out at that break even, at least I run away with some gain versus giving that gain back. The one thing I try consistently not to do is give those gains back, team. That's what we really need to be doing as traders. It's one thing to take another risk, but I definitely don't want to be giving gains that I've literally taken back from the market and then just give it back to them. That doesn't make sense in that eyes. So there you guys see it. FSLR coming right back up to the upside. So now you got to be careful, because this is starting to try to turn around on the daily, right? We were looking for a breakdown through the 200. We didn't get that. And easily this could turn into a bullish chart if it starts to break towards the 220s on First Solar. So just be careful out there, team. We'll see what happens on this case. Can this come right back up? Yeah. And it could also crack 200 tomorrow. So a lot of uncertainty there, but was happy to take a gain on First Solar and then break even on the rest. All right, let's keep going to other trades that I was in. And one that I did get stopped out in for break even, no profit, is XOM. Now, this is one that we could have taken some profit, and to each his own, right? If you wanted to take some profit, you could have done it. In the pre-market, we were looking great with energy, right? XOM was down there towards the 98. It even gave a little bit of a tick down at like the 4:15 a.m. towards 97. So that could have been a really good exit, as we were here from 174. But as the stock, of course, came back through my levels, I stopped out break even on this one, not even giving a cent of risk here. Why? Because I really did feel like oil could break down, but I also am the type of trader that when I look for breakdowns, I'm looking for more of that kind of instant gratification, right? And we already had gotten that instant gratification in our Oxy trade, right? In our Oxy trade, we did make a nice gain there. Chevron, we made a nice gain there. We were looking for this to get back up into those levels to get short again, right? We'll see what happens if they're able to bounce the levels that we can get short. Today, Gush going a little bit higher, these oil trades going a little bit higher. I'm still going to be looking for these, but I got out of it today, and can always get back into the name. By break even out on this XOM, I didn't take a loss, so I can really look for it when the next time I want to go and hammer it to the downside. We'll see what happens here in ExxonMobil. Not a bad trade there. Now, where I really made a nice gain, and we're going to celebrate the day, definitely the trade of the weekend, and got to celebrate a little bit of some money. You can't go wrong, right? Well, that's going to be on BX. Blackstone here, team, as Blackstone going lower and lower. And if you guys actually see it, it's continuing down. I took final profits today at 81.89. We were able to take some earlier profits on this one at 82.50, but not a bad trade on this one. Over 6% on that. Had to close it, had to take that money and run as I started seeing Blackstone come right back down. And what was this trade based on? This was based on sideways consolidation, rejection of prior support, now acting as resistance, looking for it to come right back down into this zone here. Yes, we could have maybe played it to the 80, but there's too much uncertainty in the banks. So as soon as I get that kind of nice profit, especially I've talked about it lately, 4-6% gainers have been working great for me. I'm going to take that money and run, because this is that style of market right now. It's not the market where I want to let trades just sit on the market. It's definitely more of that take your money and run type of market. You guys see it here. Take your money and run, exactly what they're doing right now. And you know how the wife will grab that wallet real quick. Well, the market will probably grab it faster, team. So be careful out there. We'll see what happens in the markets today. It's definitely a hard one. Riots in France over pensions. Yeah, they didn't like that retirement mention, but it is how it is. It's the International Day of Happiness, not for the banks, not for a lot of places in the world. So just be careful out there, team. A lot going on. All right, let's get back to the markets. Of course, this was a great trade. And now I can tell you guys clearly, I'm in nothing right now. So let's start taking a look to see underneath the hood if there's anything that we want to take a trade on today. And like always, you guys can mention some names in the chat. Let me know what you guys are thinking, or maybe a swing trade you guys have on already. We're going to get through it. We got a lot to talk about. We got 40 minutes into this market still. Let's see what we're moving on and what was the moves today. All right, so first thing, what was hot and what was not? You guys know I always look at this just to kind of take a look at sector and industry analysis, right? Like, where's the money rotating to, right? This is very important. Let's work backwards like we like to do, right? So that means we're going to go from sector to industry, and then eventually going to move our way over to the stocks themselves. I think it's very important to work your way into the market backwards than working it forward, because a lot of this you can go ahead and get distracted, right? You could be looking at a micro catalyst versus looking at a rotationary move. That's what I look for. Energy, you guys can see a little bounce today. Does it mean that it cleared this gap to the upside? No. And we talked about it with XOM, Chevron, and these names that are bouncing back today. They could get another hit in a little bit. We'll just have to see what happens on these bounce backs. And like always, it's never going to go in just one direction. You will get those bounces even in stocks like this. We'll see what happens in communication services, as that's having a great day here. Let's talk about some of those leading stocks in this. T-Mobile looking like it wants to come right back up. We've talked about T-Mobile on kind of a weekly outlook. I'm going to start looking at this one on a monthly outlook for T-Mobile. Why? Because it really seems to make sense on the monthly. Take a look at all these pullbacks, right? I've drawn this line before. I drew this line first on October 21st, 2022. I just updated it right now. Why? Because I want to take a look at how we react based on this monthly chart. Because it seems to me like ever since we popped out of this little range, we're holding these pullbacks and looking to continue on the upward trend here for T-Mobile. So we're going to look for a nice little push here towards 150. And of course, this is a stock that, isn't going to move much, but a nice dividend here in this name. And of course, communication services. I don't think T-Mobile is going away anytime soon. And of course, they've now become, in my eyes, more of the leader in this space than even Verizon. Verizon could still be viewed as the leader for you, but I can tell you right now, this doesn't look too bad. Nice little push up through 146. Look for pullbacks in the 144s, and T-Mobile could get moving here. All right, Verizon, the next one there. You can see how that's turning around there too, but a lot of more bottoming actions on this chart. Not looking strong by any means like a T-Mobile is. All right, keep going. AT&T here. Getting a little bounce off of that 18 level. This one doesn't look too bad. I would definitely pay attention to when the dividends come into play with AT&T. That always has a tendency to play into that date. But we'll see what happens on AT&T. It is getting a little bit of a bounce today. All right, let's keep going. Gushing type of day. Yes, it was a gushing type of day as energy came back today. And I think that's what's important. And I think that's one thing that I've been doing a little bit better on with those oil trades is I'm okay to let them go. Days where I feel like the momentum's going against me, I take the money and run and look for the next swing low, right? We'll see what happens on these names. Getting out of communication services. Let's go to basic materials now. What did well there today? Copper getting a little bit of a bounce here. Let's take a look. FCX, nice little bounce back on that. Came back towards the 200-day. Now finding a little bit of a bounce back. One that held on a little bit is SCCO. It did pull back a significant amount there, but not so bad here that we can just get rid of it. Southern Copper, remember, had broken out from way down below that 50. Got a nice little push up there back towards the support today. We'll see if FCX can continue running and copper be a play. Silver having a decent day today. PAAS was one that last week I tried to day trade through 17. That was this day right here, team. So this was the day that I tried to go after it. I got the pullback on me. It came back here towards around 16.25s. And now right back up there to 18. This is how you got to always understand that when you see these gold and silver trades, a lot of the times they're going to pop up. They're going to come right back down. We got to be looking for those pullback opportunities to gain control. And then when we take a look at a GOLD, very similar, right? We got a first little pop action. This got through the 17.25s, then gave you that day where it pulled back. It looked like it was going to crack 17 and really kind of held on. 17 on the dot there Thursday. Now pushing higher and higher is GOLD. Same thing, I was looking at that AU. Eventually, I got stopped out at 17. That's continued to run, team. This could have been a really, really nice winner, especially something to leave like kind of like a little bit of a runner on. Fitting up there towards 2130s. Big move there in some gold stocks. Can't go wrong with gold. Silver bells, silver bells. There's a theme, Mitch, with dividend stocks. Say you? What? We'll see what happens on there. Hey, Money Mitch, what's the link to the company that helps with locates? I got you. Stay focused. That's Trade Zero. I can give you the link there. Just give me 1 second. I got you. I know that we talk about them a lot on PreMarket Prep. They're sponsoring PreMarket Prep right now. So like always, we're fully transparent. You can check them out. Trade Zero, access their extensive inventory of short locates. Can't go wrong, especially if you're looking for those short locates. One thing that they have, Trade Zero, that I think is a competitive advantage is that you can actually credit back your locates, which is a whole nother conversation, but just kind of giving you a mention of a competitive advantage that I would actually compare them to other brokerages and be like, yes, that's an advantage right there. I got you. Stay focused. No worries. Let's keep going. All right, let's get into some other action. Captain Kirk, what are you looking at, man? PSDN? Let me take a quick look at that. All right, PSDN. What is this you got me looking at? Poseidon Dynamic. What is this? Advisor Share Trust Poseidon Dynamic Cannabis ETF. What are you trying to give me, Captain Kirk? You trying to give me those Christmas trees also that Bean trying to give me? I don't know what's going on with this one. I'm not touching it. This doesn't look good by any means. The Poseidon part makes me think this is going lower and lower. It doesn't make me think that it's going higher. It makes me think it's going down underneath the sea. It's at 135, man. I'd run away from this stock, but hey, to each his own, right? We'll see what happens there. Marijuana companies, And I got no problem with cannabis companies. Don't get me wrong, Captain Kirk, but I've talked about this plenty of times. We can't be early to that trade. I feel like too many investors have tried to be too early to this trade. I've done it myself, right? So what I want to do more along is with the cannabis trade is wait for it to actually show up. When it shows up, trust me, you will know because everyone will be talking about it, right? I mean, of course, if you want to be early, to each his own, but I'm going to wait for that actual turn. And a lot of that is going to come with what? Deschedulized from the federal level. I think that that's what needs to happen if we are going to actually see cannabis run, right? We've had a little bit of movement with like kind of banking, but we still need decriminalized and descheduled cannabis. Getting out of that level, I think would get these stocks moving. We'll see what happens. All right, let's get back to the stock market. Let's get back to sector analysis. Let's take a look at some other areas of the market. Basic materials we were just in. Of course, steel is something that I need to keep an eye out to see if it's going to come back. You know how I love my X. X gave some good number outlook, now starting to bottom. If we can actually have a couple of bullish days in the market, this doesn't look too bad to kind of watch for a little bit of a comeback. I'm going to put a little alert here around the 25.50 for X or steel to see if we actually start coming back here. Steel Dynamics bounced back a little bit. Similar name, right? We'll see what happens in that industry. Let's keep going. Let's go to consumer defensive here as we could start looking at some value trades, right? Are we moving the money to value? That's something to keep in mind, right? Very much could be the trade that we're looking at, right? We can take a look here. Tobacco, right? Farming products. You know, when the world is in concern, the tobacco starts moving higher. So we are getting Philip Morris to move a little bit higher here. I don't really trade tobacco stocks, but this definitely got a lift today. Is this a trade that we can continue to watch? Well, the way that I would look at this pattern here, and I've been trying more and more to kind of show patterns, especially because of our book club. Of course, got to give a shout out to the book club. We're getting into what? Japanese candlestick charting techniques, team. Want you guys to check it out, but I've been trying to call out more patterns to kind of show that outlook. And this looks to me more like a head and shoulders trying to get back through this little gap zone and then starting to push, right? So you can see this line here. This would be what they consider the neckline, right? And now can we start making our way, maybe just fill this gap? Maybe I'm not looking for the biggest move. Maybe I'm just looking for the fill the gap move, which is a move back above towards here, towards, let's say, the low here, 96.71. That doesn't look too bad. We'll see what happens there in Philip Morris. All right, BTI is another tobacco stock moving higher. Altria Group moving higher. So, of course, when there's a lot of uncertainty, it seems that tobacco stocks get moving. We'll find out what happens. SPY overall, let's go back to the SPY. SPY is making a little bit of a lift here towards the close. Held the pullback to the VWAP again. We've talked about that at the beginning of the show, right? How it was holding VWAP pullbacks. Look, another hold of VWAP and now back higher. And one thing that I wanted to point out, we haven't gotten to technology, but I'm going to skip down to it because I feel like the leadership names are showing us something that I want to keep an eye out for. So Apple overall, take a look at the daily chart. This doesn't look bad by any means. I know that there's a bad situation, but if I took my eye completely off of the banking situation and I just looked at Apple's chart, this would look pretty bullish to me. So I know that I'm usually more in that bear camp, but I can tell you right now, this stock looks good. And what's about to happen here, team? I think you'll start hearing this tomorrow, especially if we have a nice bullish day. But looks like Apple's about to show here. And right here, you guys can see it, a bullish cross. Is that going to happen here? Let's find out, team. This is the fourth attempt to get through 154 and make that push. You guys know my rule of three. It looks like liftoff. So I know that a lot of people are panicking out there, running. They say, no, it's the financial crisis again. The stocks, at least the mega tech stocks, they ain't showing me that much signs of concern. And I think that that's an important thing to keep an eye out for. Doesn't mean that they're going to be 100%, never get hit, but something definitely to keep a watch out for. All right, we'll see what happens in Apple. And just to kind of mention another big tech that looks good as it starts to come back up, right? Google bouncing off of that 90, looked very bearish down at that 90, but now trying to recover the 200-day. And what do you see here? The 50-day cross really starting to move upward. When you see that upward path, we could be really quickly getting to another golden cross, even on Google. Then I go to Microsoft, right? Microsoft. What? What is that, team? The 50 crossing the 200. Will that happen today? 50 is at 252.27. 200 is at 252.50. We are just a slight tick away from a golden cross on Microsoft. What does that tell me? That we could be just kind of pulling back, and the lows could be in for some of these tech stocks. Something to keep on watch, right? We'll see what happens with these tech stocks. Tesla having a good day today, bouncing back. Let's get to that one. Nice little day. It bounced back there towards 180s. This one doesn't seem the strongest to me on the daily chart. I think it can get back to 200, but I'm not going to be trying to decipher what's going on in Tesla. I'm focused on more of the bigger tech names. All right, getting out of that conversation, let's keep going, team. There's a lot more to talk about. Industrials, I see you guys talking about some of these in the chat. Let's keep it going. I'm going to try to touch a lot of sectors and industries today. Why? Because like I told you guys, I don't have positions on today. So this is the day where I really need to look underneath the hood, find what I like, what I don't like, so that as the current environment switches over from mass uncertainty to finally finding some of the certainty or calming down the space, right, in the banking area, it could come after the FOMC meeting, or maybe we get some news catalyst from these banks. After that moment, I want to be ready. I want to know exactly what I'd be looking for the upside if we start getting the takeoff in the market. So industrial is getting a little bit of a bounce today. Let's talk a little bit about that. Of course, you guys can take a look at some of these names. I think we take a look at what? I say take a look at the defensive names in this space, right? Why not? If we're going to be looking at right now, and President Xi was there talking to Putin and a lot of concerns out in the world, I think Lockheed Martin was a great opportunity today. It's already gotten the lift here, taken off from the 470 spots, but I think this really had the chance to get to 500. And if we take a look here on the monthly charts, this looks good here now for an attempted run back through these levels, through the 490s for the 500. Especially if we hear anything, I think, mentioned that China is going to give Russia some weapons, or we actually hear that that's actually going through, yeah, this could take off even higher. I think Lockheed Martin's definitely one to keep in mind. RTX is one that I'd keep on watch. NOC, they all had a nice day today. Definitely defensive names. Why not keep them on watch? All right, let's keep going. We could take a look at some other ones here in the industrial space. Let's go to farm and heavy construction, an area we've been watching a lot lately, right? We've been talking about Deere, how that eventually broke down from the 420s. It was looking good for a 430 run, quick reversal, but now we're going back towards the 400. Was that a pullback that was needed on kind of more of the monthly outlook to give you that next run? Something to watch, right? I think if we can close this month above 400, we'll be looking a lot better on Deere. Below 400, it looks like it wants to pull back here towards maybe 370. We'll find out on Deere in the next in the next week or so, about 2 weeks, to see if we're able to hold on that monthly candle. Caterpillar on the pullback, right? You can see this on the weekly. It pulled back to the 50 weekly moving average. This is not something that I'm looking to tackle too quickly. But one thing that I would point to is look how this trend line kind of adds up here, right? And I think that that's an important outlook. So if there's anything that I'm looking at is to see if this 210, 212 area is going to continue to play as support for Caterpillar. And if that does happen, we could see a little bit of a reversal off of that. We already got that action today, but I'm not hanging my hats on this one. We'll see what happens there in Caterpillar. Of course, Pakar is another one that we were able to play here from the 72s to the 76, and glad I sold it. This is that type of market, team, the take your money and run type of market. Why? Because trades like this happen all the time in this market, at least as of late, where I get into a position, it rips into that favor, I take the profits, and if I didn't take the profits, what would have happened in Pakar? Well, I would have gotten in here around 72.12s, right? Got it up there to 76, got a 6% winner, and then very easily in 2 days, boom, boom, it knocks down and stops me out. This is where we got to be careful, team, in this market. I feel like too many traders are looking for continuation moves when I just don't see them on the charts, at least consistently. All right, catching up with the chat. I'll pull the charts down. How we doing out there? Wisdom. What's going on out there? Walter, Captain. What are we looking at, team? Hammer Saul says Elliott wave goes into threes. The Elliott wave. Looking at those waves out there. Got to catch the waves. It's planting season. How are deer and cat? That's interesting. How's that MOS trade? You guys remember that MOS trade? Potash that was getting a nice little uplift. I even jumped back into this name and it looked great, but man, has this pulled back in such a hurry. Look at that. Wow. That's quick 2 weeks towards weekly support. Now it is bouncing near that 43, but man, I got to be brave. I'm taking a shot here. I don't think I'm going to, but it's something to keep in mind. All right, Russian names and ETFs are like SIVB halted. Yeah, they are halted. So I would probably stay out of that. I'm sure that at some abstraction, one could come up with some kind of long Russia correlation. Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, but there are halted, right? There's other ways though, right? I'm pretty sure EEM still has some exposure that wouldn't be too bad, but we'll see what happens there. Found it last night, played it today. No regrets. E-Man might still have a play. What is E-Man? E-Man, technology stock. Looks like a semiconductor. They got the lift. Well, hey, at least you got one that did get the lift. I like how this one pulled back here. I like when stocks do this. So it doesn't look too bad when a stock does this. Gives you a nice little breakout, comes back to the levels, but doesn't come back all the way to where it came from, right? But more along where it broke out from, right around here, right? You can see that we kind of had this kind of sideways period. It was sideways. It broke out of that and then came back down to the low on that candle and started holding around the 54 cents. Of course, this doesn't mean that this stock is going to get back up there to $4, but it at least gives it the opportunity, I feel like, to actually get and continue this run. This is definitely a smaller name, so be careful out there, team. Trying to run there into the twos. We'll see if this one can keep pushing E-Man. Divergence doesn't look too bad. Mitch, on the W daily pattern on NAZ. Daily pattern on this. Let's take a look here. W pattern. I'm not sure I see that. I mean, I can see where you're looking at it, like this kind of pattern, but nah, man, this looks really weak. I would maybe look at the monthly chart to kind of give me the outlook, right? This is the outlook, man. Until this kind of changes, and you almost got there. You almost got the shift here, right? You can see how you kind of popped up into this area. You were trying to get back there towards the kind of the 1250s. Rejection right back to the lows. Don't like it too much at all. All right, let's keep going. Let's get into some other stocks. We talked about some technology stocks. Let's get to the financials, of course. JPM, names like that, global banks, and then we'll go into some regional outlook. Let's go first to the global banks. Let's go to JPM. Let's take a look at how the day is finishing. Of course, this one did find a little bit of some pullback towards 126, but not a bad day. I think overall, we're going to get pretty much close to unchanged. Opening price, 126.94. We're at 127.11. So pretty much from the opening, this really hasn't moved much, but it did give a little bit of a move to the upside. One thing that leads to note, it just didn't flush to the downside with the situation that happened in Credit Suisse. But when I take a look at Bank of America, right, it's very similar. Let's take a look here at the 15 minutes. You can see how it's kind of holding, but below the opening price. That's one thing I do see. Goldman Sachs, you can see that one's actually above the opening price and coming back. And Morgan Stanley, the one that we sold out of for an 11% win, close to 11%. This one is starting to come back here. So we could see this recover, right? This was up there towards 100 just about a week or two ago. We'll see what happens here on Morgan Stanley if the motor can get going. All right, we'll see what else is going on. Sold DWAC for 125, bought in at 13. Man, you guys are still talking about the DWACer? Let me take a look there. I know it was jumping earlier, but there it is. It is moving. I think this is kind of more of a high short interest, short squeeze type of play, but we'll see if this can get running tomorrow. I know I'm not going to take a swing on this by any means. I just don't like it. Let's take a look at the Qs. Qs, you're talking about a W on the daily here. Let's go. Let's go to the Qs. Let's see what we see. All right, let's zoom back here. I mean, I can see this kind of W, right? This is kind of more that W pattern. And then now it's kind of swinging over for the upside move. But one thing to note too, and I've talked about this with the SPY, I've talked about this with the Qs, they just seem strong to me. And if we were really in a financial crisis, I would think that these would be just getting destroyed, right? I mean, I could rewind the kind of the tape to get you back there towards kind of that 2008 time, right? Or maybe it's in the kind of right here. You can see how the Qs went down massively when we were in this financial crisis, right? I mean, this is what happened in the financial crisis, team, is this downturn, right? This is it. So are we seeing this type of reaction from the market? That was a 43% down move in the Qs. Is this what we're seeing? I don't think so, team. I don't think I'm seeing it. Let's just be honest. I don't see this type of downturn in the market right now. If anything, I see sideways action. Sideways action usually is just waiting to get that nice positive catalyst to drive it to the upside, right? We'll see what happens there. My Burke B is having a happy day. Burke B, let's take a look there. Burke B trying to get back up there. Yeah, hanging on. We'll see if we can get back here through that 315. That would be a nice undercut and rally type of trade. Did it get volume on this pullback? Ooh, it did. Undercut and rally trade, team, on Burke B here. When a stock breaks support, recovers with high volume on that cut down day. You can see it here. Cut down day, and look how the volume nearly doubles. And why does that happen a lot of the time? I think that's more buyers getting in on the pullback and looking for that pullback to come right back up there towards resistance. And you can see it from 20 million to this day, which was it traded 40.4, about double the volume. All right, let's get out of that action here. Let's keep going with some different stocks. You guys can keep throwing them up in the chat. It's about 3:46. We got about 14 minutes left in the market day. Let's keep looking around. Maybe we can take a trade or two on. I know healthcare is getting a little bit of a lift today. That's not an area that I want to be looking at by any means, but I do want to catch when the drug manufacturers finally turn. So one thing to note, all of them in the green today. So keep your eyes on to see what happens with these drug manufacturers. Some bigger ones, right? Johnson & Johnson finally getting a little bit of a bottoming action, right? I think at least now we can at least call this kind of bottoming action here around 151, looking for the move back towards 157. Of course, I want to see it break towards that 157 before I get in it, but I'll keep an eye out on Johnson & Johnson. I'm going to go ahead and set an alert around the 156.50s to let me know. Lilly trying to make its way back. Of course, this one kept fading, and then now it's caught the bounce in the last couple of days. We'll actually look to see if it can get moving. AbbVie with a nice recovery. Let's take a look here. Nice little down move towards the 154, now pushing back there to 156 and looking like it wants to get through this 156 and continue a little bit higher. This one doesn't look too bad. AbbVie, will it really get moving? I like the weekly levels. A lot of weekly levels are all around the same level. Can we get through this 156 and make our way up to the next level? Next stop for me, 160 is what I'd be looking for. 160.06, 159.82, somewhere in there, I can see resistance coming into play. Merck getting a little bit of a bounce back. This one doesn't look too bad as long as it kind of holds this 104, 103 area and doesn't cut through there. Pfizer is starting to turn around. This one actually doesn't look too bad at all, especially if we're going to start seeing some of these like growth opportunities, these GARP plays start getting a nice little lift. Growth at reasonable value. If you guys don't know what GARP means, we'll see what happens there in Pfizer. Can it start making a move? And a lot of these, I'd keep them on watch. I feel like they can actually start getting a move on, especially if we're going to get some rotation back into these names after they've been hit hard in the last couple of weeks. Hammer, you better get that Vaseline. Better get ready, Hammer. I was about to look. They were so expensive, like $5. Whew. You guys are looking at some expensive options out there. I know I'm not trying that one. Might be sad tomorrow. We'll find out, team. Like always, we just don't know what's going to happen. I think in this market, you got to be more safe and risk adverse. But like always, you guys make your own investment decisions. We'll see what happens in the market. I know I've been starting to get a little bit more on the bullish side, but also doing what? Trying to be careful with this market because the uncertainty is high as it's ever been. VX hourly presents an interesting pattern. Let's go to it. VX, Vanguard Extended Market. This doesn't look too bad, and I agree. You got that nice kind of bottoming levels here. Will you get that reversal action back to the upside? I see this actually kind of more of a symmetrical triangle at the bottom. Why? You can maybe call it a pennant. You can see that there's a couple of cracks to the downside here where that's kind of not holding in here. So maybe the 4-hour chart might look a little bit cleaner. You can see there kind of that 133 kind of holding as support. Will it come back towards 138? If it comes back through 138, you could reverse this VXF. All right, not that much. The volatility index, we'll see. If it gets back up there, 137, you got it, volatility with a nice little expansion. We'll find out. I play ET a few times this month. Energy transfer, pulling back. That we're definitely seeing. We'll see what happens to these names. Where's my natural gas traders? Because doesn't look bueno. But let me take a look. Boyle down to 426. Is that a new 52-week low? Oh, man. I'm not touching Boyle anymore. It's on the banned list, man. Banned. I'm out of this natural gas trade. Not ever probably coming back. No. No Boyle wisdom. No. I agree with you, man. Let's get this stock out of the charts. I don't want to even be looking at that unless I'm trading cold. Maybe it's the opposite play that we should have been looking at, man. Look at this. It's been on a 346% run. We were on the wrong one, team. We were looking for natural gas to go up, and we should have been looking at it to go down. Hindsight 2020, but that's just how life is, right? All right, we'll see what else is going up. Yeah, this burns. I agree. It's a tough chart to look at. Utilities making their way back, and some people were looking at utilities because they're more interest sensitive, and if interest rates are going to stop rising, well, they won't be looking too bad. They can control their outlook moving forward. So stocks like Duke, NEE, you guys can keep an eye out for. Southern Company, Dominion Energy, Excel Energy. There's a lot of these could continue to climb. And one thing that I see here is a nice little trend, right? Nice little trend started. We'll see what happens there in the utility names. Consumer cyclical, the high beta names, how are those doing right now, right? Let's take a look at that area to see what stocks here were doing really good. And of course, there's going to be some smaller names here. So I'm going to try to point out some of the bigger ones. XPEV getting a little bit of a bounce today. Little China EV action got a little bit of a bounce. Not something that I was looking at, but hey, it is something to mention here. Looking for some other bigger names. CNK, Cinemark Holdings. This is actually one that I've been talking about. How I know that a lot of AMC traders out there are loving the ape talk and that kind of action, but Cinemark doesn't look too bad here as it's trying to get back through the 13. But this stock just doesn't move as much for me to try to go after it. All right, it's 3:52. Let's keep it going. AAP is my mark for the next 2 weeks. AAP, that's Advanced Auto Parts. Ooh, that one's been down significantly, man. This one, since earnings, has just been pounded back down towards 118.74. I don't know why people or investors just don't like Advanced Auto Parts. I mean, I've been in their stores. Are they really different than AutoZone? I don't think so. Are they different than an O'Reilly's? I don't think so, but definitely don't get the appreciated love like those two stocks. And I think that that's something to keep in mind, right? O'Reilly's, AZO, those seem to kind of never fail, right? I mean, they've been climbing the wall of worry in that. Look at this weekly. Oh my God. I always look at this and I'm truly impressed. So another thing is these are pulling back there towards weekly supports. We'll see if these are able to find the support and make their way back. I don't trade names like this, but I'm just trying to bring it up here to take a look at. I like an AAP over AutoZone all day, says where my cheese. It's interesting, right? I mean, why AAP doesn't get the love, but AZO does? It's just interesting there. First time catching the show. Well, welcome to it. Maybe you might find the cheese, man. You've been looking for it. We got the cheese right here on Start Swing Trading. Let's keep going. You guys smash up the like. Let's take a look out there to see what happens. All right. There's another one here that's interesting that's showing up for me. eBay. What's going on in eBay? Yo, who shops on eBay anymore? I almost looked something up the other day and I was like, am I really on eBay here? But yeah, eBay down there towards the 40. I think this is just a dying brand. Maybe they're still able to meet sales. But one thing I would point to is that this rejection here doesn't look good for me. It's kind of like we came back to support. We started using it as resistance. That's around the 48s. So it needs to recover 50 for me to be anywhere bullish on this eBay chart. All right, let's keep going. LFCR. $3 stock coming down lower and lower. Doesn't look good at all as it comes down almost to 52. Well, no, it's not 52 weeks low. It's almost all-time low. And this is just how easily a stock can break. I don't know anything about Lifecore Biomedical, so maybe they have something in the works that I don't know about. But at least from the chart, this is kind of more of that day trading stock that just got hit hard and then bounces back. Now, is this an opportunity that you want to go after? Well, maybe in the shorter term, it seems like hindsight 2020. I want to be able to grab this 85% mover. But I'll tell you the truth. Did you really know it was going to turn around at 150s? If you knew that, then power to you, man, because you need to call me next time LFCR is down at 150 and you think it's going back to 3. It's just too hard of a trade, right? I would stay away from them. I prefer eBay to Amazon. Yeah. I could see that one. eBay's like a blockbuster. eBay reminds me of MySpace. Yeah, it's something old, right? I don't see too many usage of it. eBay is a better service. No random credit card charges like Scamazon. Yeah, I mean, that is true. I agree with that outlook, but there's just not too many people buying on eBay anymore. That's just what I think. Check BITI. BITI. I got you. I'll take a look there. Bitcoin strategy. You guys know how I feel about Bitcoin. I think we're still in a winter market. This could come back at any moment, but I'd stay away from it at least until the situation dies down. I know that some Bitcoin stocks are moving higher. MSTR, Coinbase is moving higher. These stocks have been moving, of course, all based on that kind of nice up push in Bitcoin. But I'm staying away from these. I just don't like them right now. MySpace, says Wisdom. Yeah. Who had a MySpace in the chat? Put a MySpace in the chat if you had one. I know you guys had it. I know you guys had your top friends. You had your music playing in the corner. I thought they had actually a pretty good profile outlook. We don't get those nice personalized profiles no more. It's more these generic ones that these social medias make us do. But hey, you know how it is. All right, let's keep going. No trade in BITI. Yeah, I just don't see it, man. It's just one of those trades where, yeah, you could ride it for the intraday action, but until the trend changes or the worry gets away, I wouldn't look at that one. Look at more of the other trades, like maybe Riot or something like that. That's just kind of ripping, right? This is why I think these can make a little bit of an uplift, but it's also one that will probably turn around. HUT, these types of stocks. These are mining stocks. They're going to go as far as Bitcoin goes, right? If they rip, people look at these. If Bitcoin comes down, people go hammering these. So just be careful out there. All right. I see a lot of love out there for the MySpace life. MySpace, do I think? We'll see what else is out there. SoFi down big today. Yeah, that's something to catch. SoFi is an interesting one. Right back down to the $5. I know that this one popped into the $8. A lot of people were thinking that SoFi was going to hold. The bank charter was out. It still doesn't look good, team. This is why you got to be careful with these type of stocks. I remember when this stock was breaking through 14 and I was looking at it on a monthly chart and it started breaking through. We got to know when we got to get out, because always what's going to run into it now is kind of the overhead supply, right? These people that have gotten in since pretty much, let's say, June of 2022, May of 2022, right? As they get back up there to 10, will they just take the money and run? We'll see. Overhead supply also probably going to be on this stock, as a lot of it is just in the red, right? I mean, it still hasn't really come out of this situation. No swings, says Oscar Fonseca. No swings right now, my friend. And this is impressive for me, because I'll tell you right now, I'm itching to trade, itching. I want to take some trades right now. But I also understand the uncertainty is at its highest right now. And with that being said, I'm not going to be putting so much overnight risk when we don't know what can come in overnight. What if another bank mentions something and we do get to chapow down, right? Well, I'll tell you one thing. I also understand that I want to be what? Risk adverse. It's something that's hard to understand for you early traders. But you guys that are experienced, you know what I'm talking about. There's no need to always take the highest risk and the highest reward trade. This is where I fight myself constantly in my day trading game. Yes, I can go after these smaller names that make these huge leaps in percentages. But what is it? It's a high risk and high reward trade. And I don't like those both on that up end, right? If it was low risk, high reward, well then, yeah, call me. I'm about that trade. But it's on both sides, high risk and high reward. Those are the trades I try to avoid. I talk about this on my Twitter. I have a quote that we want to live by, and I want to live by always when trading. I don't let one trade make me, and I'm sure as hell ain't going to let one trade break me, team. And I think that's an important thing. How did I learn that? Was more along going through the days where I did do that day trading momentum life. And I learned that one trade can break you, right? And if we're going to be trading with that mentality and trying to put all our eggs in the basket to try to get it up there to make this giant leap in wealth, well, a lot of times it's going to come crashing down on us. So we ought to always be what? Risk adverse, always be thinking about what? Risk preservation first. And in this case, no trades on. We made some trades on BlackRock, right? On Friday, we made a trade. We took some swings on First Solar. We made some gains. Do we really just want to give this back? No. I got out of break even today on XOM. Going to keep watch to see what happens on this one, right? If I would have fought this name, I would have took a big red today. Got to know when to hold them, got to know when to fold them, and got to know when to hit that gas pedal, downshift, power shift into second, and go get your money, right? Well, this is that type of market. I'm going to stay on the sidelines tonight. And as the FOMC meeting gets through, get ready for the pickup on the trading action. You guys keep up with all the action right here on, of course, Benzinga. We're going to keep coming after it. It's 4:01, pencils down. Hit the thumbs up if you guys enjoy this show. One thing's for certain, you guys will see me always trying to be transparent on this show. Show you guys how I'm feeling about the markets. Emotions ride high. But I want to stay logical. I want to focus on a processed approach. Certain times, we need to be more risk adverse and stay on the sidelines. Certain times, we're going to hit the gas pedal. There was a time just 2 weeks ago and even 1 week ago that I had 6 trades on at one time. Right now, it's 0. What does that show me? I'm not liking the current environment. And with that being said, we got to see if the uncertainty comes down, and then we can come after it, right? Of course, when we're looking at nice positions, like I was looking at that BlackRock, why did I go after it? I talked about this plenty of times. It was on sideways consolidation near the resistance. So what in this case? In this case, the risk was small and the reward was bigger. That's why I went after it. Why am I not just going in shorting JPM? Because what would this mean to me, right? What does this down move mean to me? 1.97%. Even if I get the best type of trade, right? That's not going to be anything to me, team. Got to know when to hold them, know when to fold them. Come after it when you want it, and we'll see what happens in the market, team. All right, that's going to do it for me. Time to close and eat some of that smoked tuna. You know it, tuna. You always getting that tuna. I want to go ahead and get some of your smoked tuna. You got to send some to my house, man. That sounds good, man. It seems like you're killing it out there. But definitely hit the bell. We'll see you guys, like always, tomorrow, bright and early on pre-market prep, and we'll see what I'm able to get into. Didn't take any trades today, and that is uncommon of me. But like always, we want to be smart and take our shots when they present themselves. I'll see you next time, team. Smash the like. And of course, you guys can always follow me at MoneyMitchBZ. There was a lithium stock that I talked about that maybe we should keep an eye on, but I'll let you guys check that out on my Twitter. I'll see you next time. Hit the like on the way out. And like always, keep battling. Start swing trading. We'll be here to battle with you.